Do you want more success, more growth, more results? Then it's time for the Boundless Success Accelerator from the Modern Observer Group. This isn't your average coaching program. It's where top performers come to dominate. Weekly group sessions, on-demand coaching, a community that's got your back, and a power-packed library of tools to supercharge your business and career. No more excuses, no more waiting. Get in, level up, and start building the life you've been dreaming about. Visit us at modernobserver.com/boundlesssuccess to join today. Let's get you to the next level. We're here because the news is being distorted. We're here because people are being inundated with misinformation on social media. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth. A deadly helicopter crash. China raises tariffs again. Inflation cools, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. 6 people aboard a tourist helicopter, including 3 children, were killed when it crashed into the Hudson River near Lower Manhattan late Thursday afternoon. The helicopter, a Bell 206 operated by New York Helicopter Tours, was found upside down in the river. The cause is still under investigation, but aviation's experts say a catastrophic rotor failure may have caused it to break apart mid-air. The victims were a tourist family from Spain who had been in the air for about 15 minutes before the helicopter went down. Witnesses reported seeing parts of the aircraft fall off before it plunged into the water. China has hiked its tariffs on U.S. goods to 125% as the trade war between Washington and Beijing continues to escalate, just hours after its leader, Xi Jinping, said there were no winners in a tariff war. Xi made the comments during a meeting with Pedro Sanchez, the Spanish Prime Minister, as he asked the EU to work with China to resist the U.S.'s unilateral bullying and safeguard international rules and order, as well as countries' own economic interests. Despite these comments, China has ignored the international rules of trade since joining the World Trade Organization. The Chinese Commerce Ministry announced on Friday that it was increasing its 84% tariffs on all U.S. imports to 125%, reiterating that Beijing would fight to the end. Donald Trump has increased U.S. duties against Chinese imports repeatedly, and they now stand at 145%. The House passed the Safeguarding American Voter Eligibility, or SAVE Act, on Thursday, with 208 Democrats voting against the measure that would crack down on non-citizen voting. The SAVE Act, which passed 220 to 208, now heads to the Senate, where it will need the support of some Democrats to meet the 60-vote threshold for advancement. Democrats have rejected the bill despite polling indicating bipartisan support for voter ID requirements. A Gallup poll released ahead of the 2024 election found that 84% of respondents favor requiring a photo ID to vote, and 83% support requiring proof of citizenship when registering to vote for the first time. If passed in the Senate and signed into law by Trump, the SAVE Act by Representative Chip Roy of Texas would require voters to present proof of citizenship in person before they register for a federal election, and it would remove non-citizens from voter rolls. The House also adopted the Senate's framework that will be used to enact key parts of President Trump's legislative agenda, getting the blueprint over the finish line after a last-minute scramble to win over conservatives who had spent days railing against the measure. The largely party-line 216 to 214 vote marks a big win for Speaker Mike Johnson, who has pushed an aggressive timeline to advance Trump's domestic policy priorities, and for President Trump, who endorsed the legislation and lobbied those on the right to get on board. It was a good day in the House, Johnson told reporters after the vote. I told you not to doubt us. The media always does. The Democrats always do. But we get the job done, and we're really grateful to have had the big victory on the floor just now. Taiwanese President William Lai is struggling to contain both open hostility and private wooing by China. In late March, 4 Taiwanese soldiers, 3 of whom were part of a unit that provides security for Taiwan's presidential office, were jailed for up to 7 years after being convicted of selling pictures of sensitive information to China. The verdicts came after last month's speech in which Lai condemned the Chinese Communist Party in the harshest terms used by a Taiwanese leader in modern history. In his remarks, the president said Taiwan will not be bullied or manipulated, and promised repercussions against those who make expressions of loyalty to the enemy. Lai, aware of Beijing's carrot and stick campaign, warned Taiwanese to be wary of China's United Front, a political strategy employed by the CCP in which they, with plenty of smiles and often investment capital, enter international organizations and various influential groups and plant agents who then build alliances with targeted individuals, political parties, and other interests. The Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, shared eyebrow-raising findings from a survey of unemployment insurance claims. The initial survey of unemployment insurance claims since 2020 found that thousands of people with future birth dates claimed benefits. The survey also indicated that thousands of supposedly very young and very old people had claimed benefits. The DOGE post on X states that the survey found 24,500 people over 115 years old claimed $59 million in benefits. 28,000 people between 1 and 5 years old claimed $254 million in benefits. And 9.7 thousand people with birth dates over 15 years in the future claimed $69 million in benefits. In one case, someone with a birthday in 2154 claimed $41,000, the Post also noted. Consumer price inflation eased more than expected in March as President Trump prepared to launch tariffs against U.S. trading partners, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics report on Thursday. The Consumer Price Index, a broad measure of goods and services costs across the U.S. economy, fell a seasonally adjusted 0.1% in March, putting the 12-month inflation rate at 2.4%, down from 2.8% in February. Excluding food and energy, the so-called core inflation ran at 2.8% annual rate, having increased 0.1% for the month. That was the lowest rate for core inflation since March 2021. Wall Street had been looking for a headline inflation of 2.6% and core inflation at 3%, according to the Dow Jones Consensus. This marks the first month-over-month decline in nearly 5 years. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcasts app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.